Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, JHouze Radio, episode 79. Los just had some amazing pizza, and I am just making some weird intro right now. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show today. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be deep diving into the Gunn show. We've been talking about doing this for like a few weeks now. Now it's finally here, where we're going to dedicate pretty much most of the podcast to talking about James Gunn announcement on the upcoming DCU films and television and animated series that he's going to be working on. So there's a lot to unpack in that video. And we're also going to do a quick review of The Last of Us episode 5, which I literally just got finished watching like 20 minutes before the show started to keep my mind fresh in it.
I do have a question for you, though.
I might have an answer.
Pineapple on pizza, is that a yes or a no for you?
That's a no for me.
It's a yes for me.
No.
Having a Hawaiian pizza. Ooh, that's so good.
That's so good.
That's so good, bro. How could you not like pineapple?
It's too wet.
So are other things you eat.
I
you don't
literally,
complain about that.
as soon as I said that, I immediately knew that I stepped right into that pineapple pizza. Step right into it.
Absolutely.
Other than that, Los, what's up, my guy? How you doing? Give us a quick synopsis on the past few days of Los. How you been?
Just tired, man.
Yeah, ditto.
You know, Kira's trying to going to school to be a CSI, and like one class is like 60 hours a week.
Jeez, that's
one
deep.
Class.
That's deep. It's literally more than like jobs. Like honestly,
She spent 10 hours doing schoolwork today.
goodness gracious.
10 hours doing schoolwork.
Wait, so she's literally going to school to be a CSI? Like
Yeah.
you're not over? Oh, I thought you were like being sarcastic for a second.
No, I'm being 100% true. She's going to school to be a CSI.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know. So,
That's what's up.
but what's kind of funny is now she'll watch these procedural shows that show like the crime lab, and she's like, "That's not how that's done." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
now.
then you know, I laugh to myself because there are times we'll watch something that's like, you know, how do you hack into something or how technology works? I'm like, that's not how that works.
Oh
She's
yeah.
like, why do you gotta ruin it for it? Just watch it. And now I can,
And
I'm not
now-
gonna say anything, so I'm like, okay, baby, you got it.
So now you can be like, now you see what I mean. Exactly. Dark Legion and chat are residential chatster in the JHouze realm. Only you have to worry about is typing on your keyboard and mouse and anything on a desk sound when you have your mic directly. Oh, you're talking about the mic. Okay, I was wondering where this conversation was going.
Yeah, because when you have, well, believe it or not, that mic is pretty omnidirectional.
Okay.
So when you use it, you kind of speak into the pattern, so you really don't get that problem. Because remember when we were doing the podcast before, I would type on my laptop or what have you, and you wouldn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the thing I was worried about if I had it on my desk, because like 9 times out of 10 I'm typing while we're doing the show, and I hope it doesn't pick that up. But
It's
if you
pretty
guys,
good with it,
yeah,
it shouldn't. But if you slide it around, because that's the one, you and I have that habit of we're always moving the mic.
yeah, I'm always like, adjusting it,
And it's usually before you make a point, you're like, yeah, well, let me tell you, and this is my point.
That's like such an old school radio thing too.
Yeah.
Good
Good morning, Mr. America, and all the ships at sea.
Good morning, Vietnam.
You know what's funny though? Most people don't get that reference anymore.
Good morning, Vietnam.
No. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea.
I didn't know that actually either.
That's
So
from World War
is
II.
that-
That's
Really?
from World War II when they would actually broadcast. New York would broadcast out their shows, and on the news, you know, since it was going to the ships at sea,
Mhm.
it'd be "Good morning, Mr. and Mr. America," meaning the country, and all the ships at sea is from World War II. Like if you do a lot of film history and radio history and stuff like that, they talk about that. And if you're like me, a film connoisseur, will actually watch movies from the 30s and 40s, you know, and then some silent movies and stuff. Hell, I've even seen Birth of a Nation.
Oh, my film class made me watch that film. Trust me, I know about that one.
You know what? And it's the professor who made us watch it. Right, we watched it in class together, and he would point out all these technical errors and things like that. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like at one point, where they're all gathering on their horses and they ride away, you see tire tracks all over the road.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
wait a second, the horses don't have wheels. going on
it's
here?
like little things like that. Like Birth of a Nation is the most disgusting racist movie ever, but fortunately or unfortunately, it is the first feature-length film that holds a story together. So it has to be part of film history.
Yeah, anybody who takes a film history class or just film class in general, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna make you watch that film, which I had to sit through that film.
Yeah, they also make you watch Star Wars though, too. Believe it or not.
No, I haven't had to sit through that. Well, in class, anyways. So before we move on and jump into more topics, don't forget, guys, if you're watching us live, hit the like button, subscribe so you guys can catch any upcoming films. Well, hopefully one day, upcoming episodes of JHouze Radio. And if you guys are listening to us on the audio version of the podcast, leave us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to us on the audio version as well. And support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. If you guys want to support us financially, it'll help us keep going strong with the show and hopefully bring more projects to you guys. So,
and keep us in coffee.
And keep Los with his coffee. Look at that amazing mug that Los's girl got him for
Valentine's Day present.
Early Valentine's Day present.
Enterprise.
Yes. So, like I said, I just mentioned the topics that we're going to jump into tonight. But before we do that, I wanted to quickly touch this little topic. This is Los's favorite movie of all time, The Eternals, was recently announced to have the 9th most watched viewings on Disney Plus. It cracked I think it's
it broke the top 10.
Yeah, broke the top 10. 4+ billion watch hours. Los, are you excited about that? It's your favorite film of all time. You know, do you want to give a speech?
You know what? I think people kind of tuned into it to see what it's about. And Disney was like, if they watch more than 10 minutes, we'll count it. That's my personal opinion. 4
billion. It is the only MCU film to crack the top 10 of Disney Plus most watched show, movie, or anything.
I don't know how or why. It's a terrible movie.
I was actually very surprised. When I saw that stat. I was like, I gotta add this to the podcast. I gotta talk to Los because this is your favorite film. Gotta do it.
Next thing you're gonna tell me is that Venom cracked the top 10 too. Or even worse, Venom 2. That was
oh man. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes. I know, guys. You guys love to hear Los and I talk about Eternals and Venom every single time, but we don't have time today. Maybe next time. So Last of Us episode 5 review. We're gonna try to speed through this, so we're literally gonna cram non-spoiler and spoiler within 10 to 15 minutes. But we'll give you a quick heads up of when we're going into spoilers, but we're going to try to speed track through it real quick. Los, real quick, episode 5, Last of Us, overall thoughts.
I was actually not bored.
And I knew you wouldn't be.
I was actually not bored, and this is the first episode I was actually invested in.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Deeply invested? Okay.
I was invested in it, and all the quiet moments in the episode was earned.
Okay.
It was 100% earned. If I was on the fence for this episode, this would actually keep me watching the show. They should have removed the last episode and put this one in its place. Make last episode no more than 5-10 minutes and then put this one in its place.
Yeah. Or maybe just mash it together in one whole episode and just cut off the fat from the last episode.
The whole episode was fat. The whole episode was terrible.
Oh man, episode 4.
And again,
that is
because it did not service the story. That's why. If that was set alone by itself, like Last of Us Special, a love story, okay, cool. You know what you're gonna watch. Mm-hmm. But you're sitting there watching it going, what? How does this add to the journey? And it really didn't.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, same here. I think this is probably, actually, I don't think this is my favorite episode thus far. Episode 5, hands down, amazing episode. You had a little bit of everything. You had your action, you had your drama, you had your emotions. Yeah, you even had your comedy. One thing I always have to give a call out to is the one guy's brother who was deaf in the show. Big up to the deaf community out there. I don't remember in the game if he was deaf. I don't know if that's something that they added. I haven't played the game in so long. So if somebody
I've stopped Like I got up to a certain point in the walkthrough. I didn't finish watching the whole walkthrough, so for me, all this is fresh. So I have nothing to compare it to.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody in chat knows, just let me know if he was deaf in the game, because I don't remember that part, because I could have sworn that he did talk. So maybe that's something that they changed about it. I know that they do change a few things here and there. And I would definitely agree with you. Like the quiet moments were definitely earned. You know, it was such an emotional episode, and anytime, you know, we got exposed to something that was deep and emotional, it was almost followed behind a quiet moment, such as all like the colorings on the wall and things like that. It just reminded us that there was moments where people were still trying to live a life, where kids were still trying to enjoy themselves and still color and paint, and just seeing that, knowing where the world is at, was kind of sad. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of sad to actually see that. But yeah, I thought it was an amazing episode. I really did. So we're just going to do spoilers here. Like I said, we're going to speed through this here. Spoiler section. What did you think about the scene where the zombies came up out of the ground? I think that was a really big, important scene in the episode. Like, did you like that scene where you're not so crazy about it, or?
Again, it all adds to the story. It just moves it forward. You know, I mean, you had the warning when they went into the room and they saw the floor moving.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you were waiting for that moment, and it happened.
I actually did forget about that part, actually, yeah. Until I like saw that part of the episode. I was like, oh yeah, they're coming out of the ground. I completely forgot. Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool. I thought the guy, I forgot his name, by the way. I should probably pull up IMDb episode 5 right now, because I don't remember any of the characters' names. Episode 5, the guy that was being chased by, jeez, let me, where is that? Endure and survive.
Jeffrey
Henry. So yeah, towards the end of the episode, that was freaking heartbreaking, where Henry finds out that his little brother Sam is infected. That was freaking heartbreaking. I completely forgot about that from the game. To know that they made this journey for months or however long they had just to get away, from like the I think Kathleen, and then to have his brother get infected and then have to kill him, like that was a sad moment, man. Sad moment.
Kathleen, like, she made me laugh.
She made you laugh.
Midwestern mom. She's like, "I'm gonna kill you, don't you know?" You know, and it was just kind of like,
yeah. There was something about her character that was very sadistic that I really liked, because, like you said, she was very sarcastic in her just evilness, basically. You know, it's like you didn't know. Yeah, like you didn't know what she was gonna do. You didn't know what she was gonna say. Like there were moments where like she was standing in a room talking to the guy Perry, the guy with the whole like army outfit thing going on.
Yeah, the ex-military guy.
I thought she was gonna kill him, because it's like the way she talks. She's like, you don't know if she's just gonna randomly just kill somebody just because she's emotional. You know what I mean?
No, I never felt that, because she needs him.
Yeah, but then she also needed a doctor too, because he was the only doctor in town.
No, but remember, she blames the doctor for covering up for Henry.
Yeah,
and Henry did. I think Henry killed her kids or something. I forget exactly. So, you know, anger trumped practicality.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think what it was is that Henry needed medicine for his brother, because his brother had something. I forgot what he said he had, and the only way that he could get the medicine was, I think, to kill her brother, because he was going to take the medicine. So he killed her brother to get the medicine from him. And then in turn, Kathleen was like, okay, I got to get revenge because you killed my brother.
Yeah.
So,
which makes sense from an emotional point of view.
From an emotional point of view.
From a practical point of view.
Yeah. True indeed. True indeed.
The world needs doctors, especially in the apocalypse.
Yeah, pretty much. Because, you know, if I get a paper cut, I need somebody to get me a Band-Aid. What do you think of the relationship between Ellie and Joel so far? Like, where do you like? Obviously, their relationship is getting closer, I'm guessing, in some sense. But where do you see that? How do you see that advancing?
I see her teaching him how to be a human again. And I see within the next episode, you're going to see him treat her more like family as opposed to cargo, like he described her.
Yeah.
Remember when she finds the porn magazine in the back?
Oh, yeah.
Of the pickup.
Why is it so
and
sticky?
She was like, how does he walk with that thing?
Hey, why is it so sticky? Like, what is going on here?
When she said that, I was like, oh, God, please don't explain that.
I was dying laughing. That was actually pretty hilarious. Pretty hilarious. But yeah, I mean,
it's even funnier knowing that she's a lesbian.
Yeah, but I don't even know. I think she does know that, actually. But
she does.
Yeah, she does know that, and that's from another spoiler, which I don't want to like put out there as of yet. But yeah, that is kind of funny. Actually, that's actually very funny. Overall, yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Like I said, I think, in my opinion, I think it's the best episode so far out of the 5 that we got. The relationship between Joel and Ellie is definitely getting closer. You saw even when she was getting attacked by the little brother at the end of the episode that Joel was truly terrified. Like he was truly worried for her, and tried to protect her, to the best of his ability. So he's definitely growing fond of her. He's definitely looking at her more than, like you said, as more than cargo. Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to see, once again, see the relationship grow even more going forward, for sure.
Yeah.
So scale of 1 to what do we do? 1 to 5? Chocolate bunnies.
1 to 5.
5 being the highest. What do you give this episode?
I'll give it a 4. Believe it or not.
The highest
that's
rated.
A big jump from a -1 to a 4. That's a huge leap.
This is the highest rated episode you have so far.
Yes.
Okay.
Because again, now I feel like there's a story. Now I feel like now I can be invested. There's waves to the story. There's a little bit of funny moments. There's relief moments. There's action moments. There's everything and sad moments. So it's everything rolled up into one that you need for a show like this, and it bumped up from a -1 to a 4. So yeah.
Naked. I can't believe you gave it a -1. For me, it's definitely 5. All out 5 chocolate bunnies for me. They were the best episode so far. And like you said, just the storytelling, the action, and the random zombies coming up out of the ground was a nice surprise. That whole scene was from the game where Joel was shooting out the window to try to protect Ellie. I literally was like reliving that moment in the game again, just basically watching that scene. So that was a nice touch. So yeah, it's definitely a 5 chocolate bunnies for me. All right, guys, like I said, we're going to speed through that review. So that is our quick review of The Last of Us episode 5. But what we're mainly here for is the Gunn show. We're going to break down everything that James Gunn had introduced, I think it's about a few days ago at this point, where he broke down the upcoming plans for the DCEU. I don't know what we're calling it yet, but let's just say
DCU. He's officially calling it DCU.
DCU. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so he
or
talked about,
we call it, the Gunn show.
The Gunn show. I did tweet him, by the way. I tweeted at him. He hasn't said anything yet, but I'm pretty sure he saw it.
Well, did you tweet him? Next podcast, we're talking about the DCU at aka the Gunn show.
I didn't, but after we record this podcast and I post it on social media, I'm gonna at him again and let him know that we're talking about everything that he was talking about, and that he should come on the show one day. Why not? I mean, how great would that be?
That would be interesting.
That'd be very interesting. Very interesting. All right, so we're gonna break down. We're gonna try to get through everything that he mentioned, even if we don't deep dive into it. We're gonna at least touch base on it with the best of our knowledge.
Okay. I think we should start with the current movies that are slated to come out.
All right, you want? I'll let you talk about that, Los.
Wait, hold on. I gotta pull up my page of that.
IMDb. I choose you.
That's the new ones. Sorry, I had the whole thing listed, and then I think I scrolled, and where the hell did I put it? Here we go. All right. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Like James Gunn said, it's kind of been in its own universe, but it can easily be attached to anything that's going on, which is great. I think Shazam was a great movie. I'm excited about Fury of the Gods. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to talk about the most shocking one last.
Okay.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Jason Momoa had already implied that he's not going anywhere and he's staying in the DCU as Aquaman.
Big ups to that. Big ups to that.
Yes, definitely. But they also said he might also come back in the Justice League movie and play Lobo too. So
okay.
Just like, and again, this is all rumors that he's going to play Aquaman and Lobo in the Justice League movie, which I think will be a little strange, and I don't think he should do it.
That is a little weird. Yeah.
Neither here nor there. You know, Blue Beetle is our first Latino superhero.
Looking forward to that.
So that's going to be interesting. Blue Beetle has always been a secondary level character, you know, when it comes to DC Comics. He was only really highlighted in Young Justice. And, you know, and a couple other times here and there in different episodes of DC cartoons. So I'm curious about that one.
Okay.
The most surprising one, though, is that James Gunn said The Flash is the greatest superhero movie ever made.
I did see that. I was very surprised. I'm like really curious to see what made him say that. Like, I'm really curious now about this film.
But here's the thing. If he's correct, that explains why DC didn't want to cut or drop that movie.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, if this could be that good, then maybe that could be the reason why. Because this whole time we were talking about all the issues that Ezra Miller was getting involved in, and like this, thinking to ourselves, why are they keeping this guy around? Just let him go, drop the film, start over, get the guy from like you know from the CW show, and start from scratch.
Please don't get the guy from the CW show.
You don't like the Flash from the CW?
I like the Flash from the CW, but I don't feel like that actor can pull off movie level stuff. I feel like he's a very good TV actor.
TV guy.
Yeah, and not only that, we know the Flash from TV.
Yeah.
And he'll be a very different, like he wouldn't be able to recreate some of that nervous energy that Ezra has.
Okay.
I just don't see him do it. You know, I just feel like you need a new actor, new start, and keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like he would be more of a serious Flash than, like you said, like the less serious Flash, if that makes sense. You know,
and you know, if you put him in there, he's married to his sister. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's still weird. That's very weird.
That was a freaking one.
But yeah, he said that the Flash is going to be what's going to help reset the DC universe, basically.
And the thing is too, it's like with that Flash doing Flashpoint and resetting the new DCU, you could also eliminate Barry and go to Wally West. Ooh. And with Wally West, you have a choice of either picking a black actor or a white actor.
I didn't even think about that.
And that's an easy way to get rid of Ezra Miller and have it serve the story.
Okay. I can see that. They actually also dropped they didn't drop a new trailer. I think they're dropping, side note, at the time of this recording, they're dropping a new trailer for The Flash at the Super Bowl. They did announce that, which sucks because we're recording it the day before the Super Bowl. I wish it dropped already so we could talk about it, but we'll definitely talk about it next podcast episode for sure. So yeah, I mean, the Flash for me, since it's the most known quantity at this point, we already have a trailer for it or a teaser. That's the one I'm looking forward to. Definitely Shazam. Blue Beetle, I don't know anything about that, but I'm open to it. And Aquaman, I was never really a fan of the Aquaman movie. The character is okay, so I'll watch it anyway, though. Not too crazy about it. All right, so
you like Obi-Wan, so I don't know.
Oh, geez, Louise, this guy. So those are the next 4 films that we're going to get before we officially start the Gunn show. So yeah, we talked about Blue Beetle, we talked about Aquaman. The first chapter, James Gunn said that we're going to have multiple chapters. The first chapter of his DCU is going to be called Gods and Monsters. The first project that he's doing is called Creator Commandos, which is an animated series.
Creature Commandos.
Creature. Oh yeah, I freaking misspelled that. Creature Commandos, which is going to be an animated series on HBO Max or whatever it's going to be called after the Discovery merger. Do you know much about Creature Commandos, Los?
Sort of. It's been done before in comics, where you take the old classic horror movie monsters and turn them into a superhero team.
Okay.
There is one character in there that has already appeared in a James Gunn movie.
Okay.
Remember the Weasel from the second?
Yeah, Weasel from Suicide Squad. Yeah. He's gonna be in this.
He's in the Creature Commandos.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
So yeah, so he's in the Creature Commandos. So that would be interesting.
The Weasel was very disgusting. They actually animated him very well. I remember seeing him in that movie, and I was like, that guy looks so nasty. He just looks so weird.
Yeah, but I think in Creature Commandos that they'll do him a little different.
Yeah.
What I do like is he said the actors that portray live action will also do the voices in the cartoons, so there is no deviation.
Yeah, I 100%. Honestly, that was something that I got up and applaud him for, because that's been my biggest thing about these comic book movies / game movies, whatever these things have been, whatever these franchises that have gone from one platform to another. My biggest complaint is that we don't have the consistent actors, where especially in DC, Marvel has been really good with that.
Sort of. Kevin Conroy played Batman in how many things?
That is true. That is true.
Games, cartoons, movies, and everything else.
But that's like the exception.
They kept Mark Hamill as the Joker. But Mark Hamill said he's retired from the Joker because the only person he would do it with was with Kevin Conroy.
That is true. But those are like the only exception out of like all the other movies that we got. Look how many Batmans we got. Look how many Jokers we got. There's so many different characters for the same actual character. I mean, so many actors for the same character. So I really do appreciate the fact that he did say, hey, we're going to try to keep some kind of consistency going on. And the fact that he said from film to animation was very surprising, because that doesn't happen. Usually it's one for live action and then a separate actor for the animated series. So that's going to be pretty cool to see that.
Separate actor, show creator, script writer, different supervisor, essentially a different studio, but that's no longer in play. It's all going to be one unified vision.
Yeah, I like that. I think actors are definitely coming around to being in more superhero movies and superhero franchises now, because it's constant money. So I like that. Papa Adams in chat, I see you alert. Appreciate you stopping by. Creature Commandos, that's going to be an animated series that's going to be dropping. The next one that he mentioned
start as an animated series.
Oh, it's starting as an animated series,
and then it eventually go to live action.
All right, awesome. The next one that he talked about was Waller, which is going to be a live action TV show, which was kind of surprising, but yet I'm down for it. Who played the actor?
Also a spin-off of the Peacemaker TV series.
I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't watched it either.
Haven't watched it either? Okay. I don't feel too bad.
It's just one of those things, like, I'll watch it if I have to. If they tell me, oh, it's necessary to watch this to watch Waller, I'll watch it. But it hasn't really appealed to me, and his character didn't appeal to me in the movie. So, it's one of those things where if I have to, I will, but if I don't have to, I won't.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is for me. It didn't really appeal to me, so I'm just like, I'll watch it one day, and I've been saying that pretty much ever since it came out, and I haven't touched it yet. But it is great to see, back to Waller, it is great to see Viola Davis come back and reprise her role. It's going to be a live action.
I was trying to figure out her name.
Yeah. She did amazing, as that character, and I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what they're going to do with this. I feel like this is going to be a different version of what is the guy from the MCU with the eye patch? Jeez, I'm losing my mind right now.
Oh, not Deadshot. Not Deadpool.
We're both losing our mind. Somebody in chat help us.
Oh my god.
Oh geez, I can't move on. I can't move.
I think no, it's not Deadshot.
No, it's not.
Hold on. Eye patch. Villain DC.
No, he's not a villain.
Deathstroke.
No. From Pulp Fiction. Eye Patch. Nick Fury. Jeez Louise.
Oh, you're talking about Marvel.
Yeah. Marvel. My bad. I thought
why are we talking
you heard
about
me.
Marvel? It's a DC review.
No. I said that I feel like the Waller show would probably kind of remind me of something that we're going to get from a Nick Fury show that's coming up. It's going to be. I feel like
Waller's a fucking scumbag. Waller's yo, as bad as they try to make Fury, Waller is like fucking evil.
Yeah, she is no joke for sure. So yeah, looking forward to that. That's going to be a pretty good addition. The next one, this is big. Superman Legacy, which is going to be written and directed by James Gunn himself. What's your thoughts on this, man?
For some odd reason, when he announced it, I thought he was talking about Superman Grounded. Did you ever hear about that comic series?
No. Why?
Superman spent a whole year walking America. He would literally just decided to walk. I'm going to go walk all around America. And it was the stupidest story. Superman let somebody commit suicide. Like, he wouldn't help people who were in trouble. Like, it was the strangest comic book series. Considered, I think, the worst of 2010.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that one. No, I haven't heard of that one. I mean, this one is based off, I don't think this is based off a recent comic. So I think this might just be like an original story. I don't think it's an origin story, which I really hope that it's not an origin story.
Right. Well, the thing is, it kind of is, like reading the description, I kind of feel like it's the movie version of Smallville.
The movie version of Smallville.
Yeah. Trying to balance his superhero life and his personal life. Yeah. That kind of sounds like Smallville.
I really hope we don't do origin story with, I don't think we need that. I really don't think we need that right now.
Story. He's already Superman, but it's about the balance of his life between being Superman and being Clark Kent, which, I mean, done correctly, it would be an amazing story.
Okay.
But at the same time, I kind of feel like we've kind of seen all that countless times. And we had 10 years of it on Smallville. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? I just kind of felt like.
So what do you want to see for this Superman movie? If you can get it your way.
If I can get it my way, Lex Luthor in his suit fighting Superman is one thing.
Oh, I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
I would love to see, like you got in Superman Returns, where he saves everyday people. I would like to see more of that,
Okay.
If we're sticking to that balance of superhero life and normal person life, how him walking around as Clark Kent couldn't save somebody, because if he did, he'd reveal himself.
Okay. So you want to see him go through a little bit more of a difficult situation compared to the normal difficult situations that we've seen over all the years. Just kind of switch it up a little bit. The reason
why Superman is such an overpowered superhero, that his challenges are boring. The most you have is Darkseid, because he can take Superman's punch at full force, right?
Yeah.
But Batman defeated him, Darkseid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
That is true.
So I just, the simple fact that Superman is so overpowered, I want to see him deal with more moral dilemmas, because I think that's something that levels the playing field.
That is true, because he's such a man, like he's a man that lives by his morals, basically. So I think that would make a more interesting story, because like you said, to just throw a regular villain at him, you would literally have to throw a world destructing villain at him to make it interesting.
Yeah. Or red kryptonite or green kryptonite. The other one is him against oh my god, the robotic guy who was powered by kryptonite. Forget his name.
Robotic guy powered by kryptonite.
Yeah,
I'm not
the
sure.
guy's a cyborg. Hold on 1 second. Cyborg.
My Superman lore is not on point. I would definitely say that much.
I mean, mine isn't that great. Metallo.
Okay.
That's another one I like to see him go up against.
Okay.
You know, because I think those are like two villains that are real interesting because Lex Luthor's got his brains and he's got like his suit, and I would like to see how DC would make that suit look and behave. Would they imitate a lot of Iron Man or wouldn't they? That'd be interesting to me.
Okay.
And Metallo, because the simple fact is, because Metallo is powered by kryptonite, he exposes his power source a lot in a fight to weaken Superman. So that way Superman actually has a challenge. Because Superman, and think about it, if you're that overpowered, you don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
You don't, because you don't have to.
You don't have, you just look at somebody and just melt them with your eyeballs. That's it.
Exactly. Or you flick them, or you clap your hands.
Exactly.
You fart, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
And Legion in chat says, plus it can go bad as well on that suit. Depends on how they do it in the movie. Yeah, of course. I mean,
and that's why I would like to see it, because I want to see if they could actually pull it off. Because of Iron Man, now Lex Luthor becomes a problem. Because people who don't follow DC Comics are like, oh, they just turned Lex Luthor to Iron Man. You know?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that would make me curious about how they would handle that.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how they handle that, because of the simple fact that Superman has had so much riding on that character over the past few years, especially after, you know, what happened to our last beloved Superman that we just lost. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this, and James Gunn taking this in the writing role and directing role, it's big, you know, it's a lot of responsibility. So I mean, I have faith in him, because he did say in this video that he dropped, he said we are focusing on storytelling. Storytelling is our number one focus, and I really appreciate that he brought that up, because DC has some amazing stories, some amazing characters. We just haven't had anybody to tell it properly.
My two hopes for the Superman movie is this: one, that they cast Henry Cavill as Superman's father.
The irony.
I think that would be a great way to hand off, pass the baton, if you will, to the new Superman actor. And I think Henry Cavill is a big enough person to do that. And two, just the fact that, hey, he's in it as Superman's dad would put butts in the seats to watch it.
That is true. That is true.
You know, and the other thing is, stay away from Lois Lane. Introduce her, but don't have him hook up with her right away. Like, make that the goal of the third movie.
Okay.
You know, because it's so much about on Lois Lane. Okay, but show us the journey. You know, let's see him get there.
I like that. I like that idea, actually. One last question about Superman. Do you go young Superman, black Superman, or do you go early 30s Superman?
Superman is eternally 35. So I would like to see a late 20s Superman, an early 30s Superman, not quite the Superman that we know.
Okay.
You can't do Black Superman because Black Superman is from a different universe.
Oh, yeah, because he did say that he's going to have Elseworld stories, and this is not an Elseworld story. So, okay, that makes sense. Legion in chat says, speaking of the hope side of the movie, what do you want out of the movie? Well, that's pretty much kind of what we're talking about right now, basically.
The Lois Lane romance.
Yeah. All right, so
next one, Batman. No Batman.
Yeah, no
Mention
Batman.
him, but don't show him.
Yeah, no Batman.
Superman movies.
I think they should save that for like a much later film. It'd be way too early. Like, don't give us too much too soon. Take your time, build up the story, do it right. Because I feel like if you try to do too much, it's going to put too much pressure on itself, and then the movie's going to be horrible.
The only way I would like to see Batman in a Superman movie is if Clark Kent calls up Bruce Wayne asking for information.
Yes,
that's it.
That's all I would want. I don't want to see Batman in the cape. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to even see a bat symbol. Just let me see Bruce. That's fine. But then by then, which I'm sure by then they would probably know who Bruce is, because we'll get to that later, and I can't wait to talk about it.
The other thing is too, since they're introducing, we'll when we talk about that, I'll talk about that.
Okay. Next one, I think you're going to be pretty excited about this. Lanterns, which is going to be a TV live action. The Lanterns that they're going to be introducing us to in this show is going to be Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Basically, look at them as like space cops. Basically,
that's already been done.
Already been done?
Yes, in animated.
Oh, so this is going to be probably the just the live action version of it, basically.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it can be done really well, but since he's a cop in space, you're talking about a huge budget for CGI and makeup. Huge budget.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was actually kind of thinking about too when he mentioned lanterns. I didn't think he was going to say anything about lanterns because I feel like lanterns have just been done very wrong over the past few years. But yeah, that's one thing I'm worried about is the fact that it's a TV show and you're doing a Green Lantern story. What is that going to look like?
I think it's going to look a lot like the animated movie Green Lantern Emerald Knights, where you had, I think it was 3 or 4 very distinct Green Lantern stories.
I'm going to look that up actually. Green Lantern Emerald Knights?
Yes, Knights with a K.
Okay. When did this come out? 2011?
Mm-hmm. Good movie.
9 years ago. Okay.
I think the series will look more like that. The good thing is there are so many humans that are part of the Green Lantern Corps. You have a lot to pick from.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see a lot of the non-human Green Lanterns. Also, Hal Jordan had a relationship with a teenage Green Lantern. It was that he used to train. It was like a very weird storyline.
Interesting.
Yeah, like if you read into the Green Lantern history and into Hal Jordan, you're like, ew, why do we like him? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because if you look at the Green Lanterns, you have Hal Jordan, which was the first one from Earth. And in the Green Lantern Corps, Earth is like a hillbilly planet. You know, nobody wants to be there. Guy Gardner, which was just an asshole that nobody liked. John Stewart, which seems to be everybody's favorite. If you don't know who John Stewart is, he's the Black Green Lantern that you saw in the Justice League cartoons. You know, the famous ones. Kyle Rayner, which is a Latino. He's a Latino superhero, Green Lantern, who at one point becomes the White Lantern, the lantern that can use all spectrums of all the rings.
Okay.
Simon Baz, who is a Muslim Green Lantern, which was real interesting. And
I did hear about that.
Cruz, who suffers from mental illness.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of, you know, Green Lanterns from Earth where they can actually do a lot with, you know. Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz are the two I want to see, only because they really haven't been portrayed in live action.
Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I've always wanted to get a little bit more on the Green Lantern story, so this could be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, my fear is it's going to turn into Green Lantern CSI.
It just might.
That's my fear. But then again, you know, James Gunn can take the Suicide Squad and make them interesting.
I know. Like when I first
Guardians of the Galaxy, which was like a nothing comic book, and he turned it interesting. So,
and it's literally,
if anyone could do it, it would be him.
And mind you, like Guardians of the Galaxy, I've said millions of times, it's one of my favorite franchises within the MCU. Honestly, like I love those movies. I love those characters.
Not my favorite. Not that I don't like it, just not my favorite. For me, it's definitely Captain America. From Steve Rogers to Sam Wilson. I'm more interested in seeing Sam Wilson's story.
Okay. Next one we're jumping into, I know nothing about this one. I feel like James Gunn is really like deep diving into some DC lore with this one. The Authority, which is going to be a film. Do you know much about The Authority?
The Authority is kind of a darker version of the Justice League. Batman is in it, and a lot of other different characters.
Okay.
I know very little of it, but I do know enough to tell you it's a very dark take on the Justice League.
So
where they're like not scared to hurt people critically, but because of Batman, you're not allowed to kill.
So DC's version of The Boys.
No, because the boys kill.
Okay. I need to catch up on that. By the way, I haven't watched the new season yet.
Me too.
So yeah, I mean, this one, don't know too much about this one. He didn't really give us much information on this besides what you just basically said. And for some of these movies, I kind of want to go in blind. For some of these, I do want to catch up on like some comics, some old school TV shows. But for the ones that I know absolutely nothing about, I kind of want to go in blind a little bit. For some of them, like The Authority, maybe read one comic. But then
no, man, you can't read one comic.
With
All
The
comics
Authority
have a 4 to 6 episode story arc, so you would have to read 6 episodes. Follow one story arc so you have a better understanding of the characters and what they do.
Okay. You know what?
Comics are a lot more complicated than people give it credit. A lot more complicated. Because all these movies that we love come from comic.
Yeah.
These story arcs that we're enjoying are 6 episode runs. Secret Wars, the one that everyone can't wait to see, is a 6 or 8 episode run. You know? So, you know, Captain America becoming, Sam Wilson becoming Captain America was several comics. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So you'd need to read at least 4 to 6 to follow one complete story arc, and you're good. But you can literally go to any comic book store and said, all right, I want Authority. Let me get a trade mag. And it literally is those one storyline in one thick, almost magazine-like, where you can read the whole thing, and it costs like $10, $15.
Oh, wow.
So instead of buying all those issues separately, you can just get a trade mag and just, you know, read it. Yeah. And the good thing about it, I mean, it's great because it's cheap, but it also has no resale value. So it's not even worth keeping.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not worth keeping. It doesn't have any resale. Only the individual issues have a resale value.
Okay, well, I guess I need to start catching up on some comics. Dark Legion said, or you can just go digitally.
I was actually going to say that. You can go to Comixology and you could buy the issue separately, or you can, because in Comixology, you have Comixology Unlimited, and in the Unlimited, you could read older books, you know, like whole runs of it and things like that. I have it.
I have done that before. I have checked out comics that I don't really know much about and just kind of want to skim through it. I've like got digitally, and the ones that I really want to keep are the ones I'm just gonna buy like physically, basically. So I think that could be a good option. You know, thanks for bringing that up, Legion, for sure. The next one that we're gonna jump into, which is going to be kind of an interesting one, Paradise Lost, which is a TV show live action, which is going to be on Paradise Island, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's going to be a Game of Thrones style kind of show. That's going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
It is, but here's the thing. If you follow Game of Thrones, you have a lot of nudity. If you follow Game of Thrones, you have a lot of sex. Not only just the violence.
Yeah.
So now, does this become lesbian porn, for the lack of a better term?
I don't think they're going to go that route. I mean, I think it'll have that style maybe, but I don't think they're going to go full blown, because this is still DC. This is still comic book movies. Right. You know what I mean?
And here's the thing too. This does not contain Wonder Woman. This is a story that happens before Wonder Woman is born or created, depending on which origin story you use. So this is more about Wonder Woman's mother.
And that's going to be an interesting story. Yeah. Wow. I like that. So far, he's making some really interesting choices on the stories that he's picking. Like just out of the box, thinking out of the box, deep cut like stories that we don't really think of.
Yeah, like The Authority is one of those books where I was like, that's a weird choice. The no, it really is. You know, and the I'm sorry, what's it called again? The Paradise Island, Paradise Lost, is it?
Paradise Lost, yeah.
Paradise Lost is one of those interesting stories, but at the same time, you know, I'm like, do we really care? I mean, we don't have a Wonder Woman right now. Do we really care about her past? Do we really care about the history of the island? That's one of the few that I'm like, I'm not so sure about that.
I think,
but then again, if you put a lot of TNA on the screen, a lot of people will watch it.
I think he's making his choices wisely. Maybe this could be a setup for Wonder Woman. Maybe this gives us time to figure out who Wonder Woman is going to be, like who they're going to pick for Wonder Woman. I think this is just like a slow setup for that. Basically, I think that's probably why they're going that route. Because look at, like you said, look at some of the movies that we got in Marvel. You know, when the first Marvel movie was Iron Man, the character that everybody was like, well, why'd you pick Iron Man to start with? You know what I mean? So most people would have been like,
yes, I agree. Iron Man was a weird choice, but at the same time, he's been an Avenger for how long? He's had his own comic book series for how long?
Yeah.
You know? It kind of made sense.
I mean,
if you look at it from a comic book point of view, it makes sense.
I look at it for the simple fact that since he is focusing so much on storytelling, I'm trusting him so far because of him saying we are focusing on storytelling. I feel like he is decisively picking these stories for a reason. I don't think he's just going in the bag of chips of like DC and say, hey, let's just pick a name out of a hat and make a show. You know, I feel like he's decisively doing this for a reason, honestly.
I also think he's picking oddball storylines so you can fall in love with the universe first before he introduces what he calls the trilogy.
Yeah.
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
I agree. I mean, because at the end of the day, you got to have a little bit of extra something in there instead of just saying, all right, here we go. Let's start from the beginning. We're going to have a Justice League movie. You know what I mean? And we saw how that was. Like, we jumped straight into Justice League instead of taking time and introducing us into characters, letting us get used to these characters, so on and so forth. He's taking his time. So take your time, James. Do your thing. Just do it right. That's all I got to say.
Here's the other thing, too. He is going to hire Zack Snyder to direct one of the films. I don't know which one, but he's going to direct. He hired Zack Snyder to direct one of the movies. So sort of the Zack Snyder universe is sort of coming back.
I'm salivating right now.
Yeah,
I am salivating. Oh, let me find out DC is going to be good. You know what I mean?
I personally believe he's going to do The Authority.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that actually. Yeah, I can actually see that. That makes sense for Snyder to actually, you know, take on that project. Legion in chat says my view on what KJ just said is this: don't give me hope. Why? What? Okay. That's your view on it. I guess that's all good.
I can understand why Legion says that, and I personally think they dropped the gun on the DC universe when the first,
pun intended,
unproduced Justice League story was written, was about to go to screen, and they dropped it. It was about to be produced, excuse me, and they dropped it. If you don't believe me, Google it. Unproduced Justice League script. And there are YouTube videos on it, who was going to be cast,
wow,
what the story was, and everything else. And if you watch that or read, it's an amazing story.
Wow. Interesting. The story that we'll never get, guys. The story that we will never get.
Yeah.
All right. So this next one that we're jumping to, this one touches my heart, touches my soul, touches me in all the amazing places. The Brave and the Bold film is going to be Batman and his son, Damian Wayne.
Yes.
Speak to me, Los. Speak to me.
The one thing I don't want to see. I'm going to start with that.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at each one of these movies as a trilogy. So I'm coming at it from that point of view.
Okay.
I don't want to see Superman's son.
Why do you think we'll see Superman's son?
Because they have their own book. Superman's son and Batman's son, Damian Wayne, have their own book. They even have their own animated movie. And I mean, hint to it, okay. But I kind of am not really interested in that unless it's the second generation of Batman Superman and you have Damian as Batman. But I would like to see him in the Batman Beyond suit and um Clark Kent's son.
Yeah, it's I don't want to.
I'm curious, why didn't he pick the Batman Beyond movie?
Honestly, when I first heard that James Gunn was doing the DC universe over again, I immediately thought to myself, Batman Beyond? Maybe, please. We're not getting Batman Beyond. Still, we've been clamoring. DC fans have been clamoring for a Batman Beyond live action film for the past 1,000 years, and I just feel like we're just never going to get it. At least probably not in my lifetime.
No,
so
I think we will. I think we will get it as an Elseworld story.
Yeah, you know what? We keep forgetting that these are DCU storylines that we're talking about here. We don't know what they're going to do in Elseworld. You know what I mean? So anything could still be possible in Elseworld.
Yeah. Also, like, what I like about The Brave and the Bold is the simple fact that you have Damian, who's trained to be a killer, who doesn't mind killing, and then Batman changing his mind throughout the course of the comic book. So, you know, I want to see that on screen. Plus, Damian uses a sword. Batman doesn't. You know, Batman's not really a weapons person.
Yeah.
You know, so it would be an interesting story.
I like the fact that we are just trying something different. We haven't, if you think about it, we haven't had a Robin on screen a very long time.
Live action Robin.
Yeah, a live action Robin since the Schumacher days.
Nope. You are forgetting the Titans.
Live action?
The Titans TV series?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
And the other Robin, which I forget which one, Jason Todd.
I was more so thinking of like film, but yeah, you're right. Like the Titans, whatever. But like as far as like film, we haven't had one since the Schumacher days,
which was terrible.
Which was horrible.
And they put him in his Nightwing costume too, which I thought was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Actually, no, I lied. We kind of had one at the end of the Batman trilogy that we got from Nolan. He was kind of like Robin, but not really.
No, they just said, "Oh, how come you don't go by your middle name, Robin?"
Yeah,
and everyone said, "Oh my God, that's Robin."
Yeah,
it's not really Robin.
Not really Robin. Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's interesting that he picked that story. It's great that we're getting a Robin. It's great that we're getting a different type of story. I'm guessing we're going to get a much older Batman, obviously, because he has a son and all, and his son is obviously old enough to.
Not necessarily, because Talia Ghul, which is the Robin's mother, he's been messing with her for decades, for a very long time in the DC comic books. So he could have been messing with her in the very beginning of his Batman career, and now he's 35 or he's 40, and you know, now he's got to deal with his son. Yeah. So I don't necessarily think it may be an older Batman, but there is a possibility it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm really curious to see who's gonna put on the cowl. That's another big role that they got to try to fill. I think by that time, my boy is gonna be too old to play Batman again. What is his name? Affleck. He'll probably be a little too old to play Batman again by that time. So we're not gonna get Affleck back.
The only hope I really have is they pick a Batman who has more of a physique of a gymnast.
Yeah. Please don't give me Twinkle Toes Batman again.
Yeah, no. Twinkle Toes Batman was ridiculous. You know,
that guy was skin and bones.
Let me punch some guy 20 times so all these gang members watch.
Yeah, I didn't listen. The movie was okay. Like the most recent The Batman movie was okay. I'm just mad that he didn't look the part physically. That's the part that I was very upset about. Side note, the new Batman movie The Batman movie that's coming out is going to be called The Batman Part 2, which is the first Batman film that had a number in the actual title.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of looking forward to it, but now that I know that I'm getting the Brave and the Bold, I'm like, I don't even care about that anymore. Just give me James Gunn Batman, please. That's all I want.
But we're going to get it in the Authority. we're gonna get that Batman in the Authority.
You think so?
Yeah, because Batman is there.
Oh, okay.
He's part of that team.
That's gonna be interesting then.
And the little that I've researched, yeah, he's part of that team.
So I wonder if it's gonna be the same Batman that's gonna be in the Brave and the Bold. Probably.
According to him, it's the same Batman as in the Brave and the Bold and all the animated series.
All right.
Whoever gets that role is gonna get a lot of work.
All right.
And he's gonna be doing it for a while.
Sounds good. All right, next one that we're going to jump into, this is another deep cut, Booster Gold, which is going to be a TV live action series. The superhero is kind of like a time traveler, basically.
No, he is a loser
from the future. A loser time traveler.
Time travels back and becomes a superhero using tech.
Yeah.
Futuristic tech. Flat out, in the description of the character, it says he's a loser from the future.
Sounds like me.
No, because think about this. Like, he is so desperate to be loved and accepted and be someone bigger than he is that he steals this tech and he goes into the past.
Okay, never mind. That's not me.
Yeah, and he's very conceited and he's always trying to get, like, he'd be the superhero who's on Instagram and TikTok. Like, he would set up his phone and go like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go fight crime right now, so you could watch it on my live stream. You know, that's who Booster Gold is.
Oh, okay. I'll take that back.
So, as a TV series, I think it'll work because you can have all these little mini stories of how much he's a loser and not a loser and what he tries to do and how he turns himself around towards the end. Because Booster Gold has always been about the fame. I want to be famous. I want to be a famous superhero. I want to be as famous as the Justice League.
That sounds like that could be a fun show to watch, actually. Yes. Like, just based off that premise, that could be just a fun show, honestly.
I 100% agree. It'll be a fun watch. And you've got to pick somebody who is good looking, but is like a klutz, or is like, you know, you got to take away some of that genetically, you know, modified good looks. Because I think that would make it even more interesting.
I feel like you would almost have to get like a Ryan Reynolds kind of guy, almost.
No, less than Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is funny. You'd have to get somebody who can play clumsy. You know how Clark Kent is clumsy and he's this and he's that?
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to get that type, someone who is good looking like Christopher Reeve or the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But have him still be clumsy and everything else and a little foolish. That's what you kind of need for Booster Gold, I personally think.
Okay.
That's going to be a fun series.
I feel like this could be the sleeper, honestly. Like, I feel like a lot of people might actually sleep on this, and this one could actually be a hit. It really could.
I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you.
All right, next one that we're going to jump into, Supergirl. I was very surprised at this because...
Actually, could we go to the next movie and do Supergirl last? Because I have a lot to say about Supergirl.
All right, awesome. Sounds good. Though, scratch that. The next one we're going to jump into is Swamp Thing, which is going to be a film, origin story of Swamp Thing. It's going to be in the premise of a horror film, which is very different. Very different from what we've gotten so far.
The comic book is a horror film. The comic book is a horror comic book.
Yeah.
You know, and Swamp Thing kind of becomes the voice of the earth and the voice of nature in the DC universe. So that will be interesting, where you can have these political storylines of, you know, global warming and deforestation and this, that, and the other thing through the eyes of Swamp Thing, a human who became part of nature. So I think that would be interesting.
Yeah. That when I saw that he was going to do that, I was like, I like that pick. We haven't had anything Swamp Thing related in live action. I don't even think, have we had anything in live action from Swamp Thing?
Yes,
maybe back in the 90s.
TV series, one season.
Back in the 90s, right, or something like that.
No. Released a couple years ago.
Couple years? Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. On HBO Max, right? I think.
Yes.
I completely forgot about that. And yeah, you're right. It was one season.
The interesting about Swamp Thing is he's good friends with Poison Ivy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, could we see some Poison Ivy in this show?
Possibility.
Oh, possibility. Actually, no, it's not even a show. It's going to be a movie. So I don't know. I'm actually I'm kind of digging this idea, especially since we're going to have this horror element attached to it. I like that. I feel like it's going to be a different style, a different taste, you know, for us DC fans, honestly. You know,
and not only that, through Poison Ivy, they can have Swamp Thing connect to Batman, which then in turn connects to Justice League.
Yeah.
So like I kind of like how that thread is going.
That's why I said I feel like he is purposely picking these stories for a reason. He's trying to set up something. Like he's thinking, he's doing forward thinking right now. He's trying to think about the future and where he wants these stories to like land, basically.
And the Brave and the Bold might be a hint to Superman's son eventually popping up in the Superman trilogy. And again, I'm looking at all these films as a trilogy.
True indeed. All right, so the last one that we're going to jump into real quick, which was kind of a shocker for me, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is going to be a film, which is actually based on the comic that came out, I believe, a few years ago, Woman of Tomorrow. I'm guessing you know about this comic, Los.
Bro, this is the one I'm the most excited about.
Really?
The most. When people think Supergirl, people think of the WB Supergirl, you know?
Yeah.
They think of, Power Girl and, like little things like that.
Yeah.
Supergirl is not a nice character. She's not. She actually is not very fond of Earth or humans.
Interesting.
Clark came when he was a baby, raised by humans, learned to love Earth and everything else.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
Yes, she came later.
Came to Earth as a teenager, late teenager, like, 18, 19, 20.
Mm-hmm.
So her point of view is about Krypton. Mm-hmm. So when she comes to Earth, she goes, this little fucking backwater. These people are so ungrateful. These people pollute their own planet. They do this, they do that, do the other thing. So I want to see that. I want to see the Supergirl that nobody really knows. The girl who doesn't like Earth. The girl who has a lot of emotional trauma.
Yeah.
That's the Supergirl I want to see, and that's the story I want to see. I don't want this bubblegum, Supergirl that we've gotten in the WB. No offense to the people who made the show. No offense to the actress who started Supergirl. I think she did the best she could with that material, but the show became just issue related. It wasn't about a superhero story. It was like, okay, the next 5 episodes, we're going to talk about trans rights. We're going to talk about this. And they beat you over the head with it. And it just turned people off in droves.
Yeah, honestly, I 100% agree. I feel like when the show first came on, I was a big fan. Like I was loving Supergirl when it first came on. It was something different. I didn't really know much about Supergirl before the show. I didn't follow her too much. So it was interesting. It was a cheesy, interesting, but interesting nonetheless. And then, like you said, over time, it just became like an activist show over time, and then it just, like you said, it just beat you over the head way too much with all that.
And not only that, they kind of made her almost a female clone of Clark Kent. A reporter, two shoes and everything, and that's not what Supergirl is. Yeah,
it pretty much was that.
Hated the idea of people thinking of her to be just like Superman that she became Power Girl.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, the female superhero with the white leotard and the big window on the boobs. That's Supergirl.
Just named Power Girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually Supergirl.
Interesting. I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
That's actually a deep cut for me.
Dude, you got to start reading up on comics, bro.
Listen, man, I don't have time to read comics, man. I barely got time to watch TV shows. Let's just be real.
Dude,
let's just be real,
bro.
But I mean, honestly, this movie, and I'm surprised that it's actually going to be a movie. I thought it was going to just be another TV show, but this is actually going to be a film. I'm really intrigued to see what he's going to do with this character. A lot of people outside of like TV shows, I don't think we ever had a Supergirl movie. I don't think we have. We have
one Supergirl movie, which was terrible.
When did that come
out? 80 or 82?
Oh, back in the 80s? Okay.
Yeah, early 80s. It was terrible.
Oh, that's probably why I don't know it.
Terrible.
That's probably why I don't know it.
Oddly enough, the actress who played Supergirl in the movies played Supergirl's mom on the TV series.
Supergirl's mom. I gotta look and see what she looks like. I don't remember Supergirl's mom. I haven't watched that show in so long. I actually never finished Supergirl, the TV show.
Yeah,
it just got
the show. I stopped.
It got so bad. I couldn't, I was trying to hang in there just so I could finish it because I started it. I couldn't hang.
My only gripe with the Arrowverse is they never had an episode where you get Cisco and the tech guy from Supergirl together in an episode where they're just doing tech stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Because they were very similar characters, and I would have laughed my ass off seeing those two people do all this stuff.
I miss Cisco. I really do miss that guy, man. Seriously. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Supergirl. This is going to be interesting. I want to see how he does this story. I'm curious to see who plays Supergirl. I'm curious to see who plays all these characters. I think that's one of the things that's the most interesting about these films is that we don't know who's going to play these characters yet. You know, usually when we're getting a Marvel movie, it's like we already know who's playing Iron Man. We already know who's playing Captain America. They've been there for a few years. We're starting fresh. So I'm really curious to see who's going to be the face behind these characters and how they're going to carry this role and make it their own, basically. So
what I'm hoping for is more the people cast will be unknowns, because then we have no, opinions about them, and we can kind of look at it completely fresh.
Exactly.
I don't think everyone will be unknown, but I think a good chunk might be.
I agree. I think that's how it should be. Honestly, start off with some characters who are unknown, or maybe who are just don't really have a lot of time in acting, but they've been around for a little bit, and they got some good acting chops. I don't want.
Look at Gal Gadot. Her before Wonder Woman, she was the hot chick from one of the Fast movies. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh,
like,
I forgot.
Had no opinion of her.
I forgot she was in Fast and Furious. Yeah. I completely forgot. Yeah, so like things like that. I mean, where it's like you've seen them in a movie or two here and there, but nothing big, and then all of a sudden they're a superhero and now they're like well known. Like that's how I want it. I don't want to see The Rock being like the next Superman or anything like that, But
can we talk about that after? Can we talk about The Rock?
Oh boy, yeah. Yes, we can talk about
with all this.
Yes,
the Gunn show.
So overall, I'm really excited for what James Gunn has put together. This is just some of the stuff that he put together for chapter 1, phase 1, whatever you want to call it, the first chapter, which is going to be entitled once again Gods and Monsters. So I'm excited, man. I feel like I'm getting amped up about DC again. Before it was like if there was a DC movie coming out or a DC show, there was just no energy on my part to even try to watch it unless it was Batman, and even the last Batman movie was okay at best for me. But I'm genuinely excited to be a DC fan right now. I'm even excited to start reading comics. I'm actually thinking about getting me a Swamp Thing comic, just so I can like start reading up on the character, because I'm excited about these characters. I'm excited about these stories that we're about to be exposed to. So let's go, man. I'm ready. The Gunn show, man.
I am cautiously excited about this. Again, it's things like Superman Legacy and The Authority that I'm kind of, and Swamp Thing that I'm kind of like, it was an interesting choice, but I'm still cautiously excited about it, because if this goes wrong, I kind of feel like it's almost the end of DC.
And I 100% agree. So there is two sides of it for me. Yes, I am excited because of the fact that it's different. We haven't gotten anything different in a very long time. So I'm like, yes, finally, give me something that I can just kind of look forward to. And that's all it is for me. I just want to look forward to something different. Now, like you said, yes, the question is, there's a chance that it could be bad. Everything that we got from, Marvel, who paved the way for these superhero movies, everything they did wasn't great either. So I'm sure there's going to be some duds in there that we're like, okay, that was all right, but I was expecting a little more. But I hope that we get more good than not, honestly. Yes. That's what I really want from this. I really want them to really put some time and effort and some love into these stories and give us something that we can look forward to,
Yes, absolutely.
But if, like you said, there is that chance that he could come in here, him and his team, and put all this work in and everything is just garbage. And like you said, if that is the case, that will be it. Like, I don't think DC films can recover from this if the Gunn show fails.
See, my hope that it's successful is this: it will force Marvel to be better.
Yes.
And
competition.
If Marvel gets better, then DC gets better, and it'll give us another decade of great superhero movies.
Yeah.
Once that decade is over, I don't know if people will still be into superhero movies. Because there was a time for 30 years that Westerns were the thing to watch for movies. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping for another decade of superhero movies.
I believe that competition does breed great content. Especially if, like I said before, if James Gunn really pushes storytelling to a different level, where it's not just about the pow pow and the punch punch and the superpowers, where it's like, hey, DC, we're giving you some compelling stories over here. Maybe that will push Marvel to take their storytelling to a different level as well. So competition is going to just be great for all of us fans. It's just going to be good content that they're going to want to try to push at us.
I do think that Chapter 2 should have a Teen Titans movie for the DC universe.
I believe it'll happen.
Because I believe, my personal belief is there will be a Young Avengers movie. And I think, or Young Avengers TV show. And I kind of think having those two go head to head would be real interesting.
That would be kind of interesting, actually. Side note, the only thing from, besides the 4 films that are coming out within like the next year and some change, the only thing that we actually have a date on, I believe, or a year on, is Superman Legacy, which is coming out in 2025. Yeah. Everything else we don't have a date on yet, which means that they're probably, I think they already know who their Superman is. If they're already putting a date on the movie, that means they already know who their Superman is.
I think they do.
Yeah. So
I honestly think they do. But so my whole thing on this is Marvel has gone to great lengths for adding people of all different, people with disabilities, people of all race, creeds, and colors. And I want to see if DC will kind of do the same thing, because a lot of these characters are white. A lot of these characters are, what they were made in the golden age, where that was the norm. I'm curious if they're going to change, any of the nationalities of these characters.
Yeah.
Because Ra's al Ghul is Arabic.
Yeah. True.
So I'm curious if they're going to add that element into The Brave and the Bold. Are you going to have more Greek-looking characters in that Paradise Lost movie?
Yeah.
And whoever you pick for Superman, you have to mirror that in Supergirl. Supergirl's traditionally blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So just all things that I think will be real interesting to see.
I can't wait to see who they pick for Superman. Like I am like, I think I'm almost more excited to see that than to see who's going to play Batman. Like, only because there's been so much drama around the Superman thing lately. I can't wait to see who they pick for that role.
I'm actually more interested in Supergirl.
Okay.
Because there's so many actresses that fit that description. I'm very curious about that.
Yeah.
And also, oh God, the monster one, Monster Squad. What was it called again?
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos. I'm more curious about that one too.
Okay.
Are you going to stick with the more European-based monsters, or are you going to take the Mummy and actually make them Egyptian? Are you going to, like all those? Are you going to take the Frankenstein's bride and make her a gypsy for the sake of argument? Like, I'm more curious about that casting, because you can pretty much cast anybody as anything because you're monsters.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that casting, but Supergirl is the one I'm most curious about because there's so many actresses who fit that description.
Okay.
So Superman again, is my number 2.
Okay. My number 1 would definitely be Superman. My number 2 is definitely gonna be Batman, hands down, for sure.
And Damian Wayne.
Oh yes, and Damian Wayne.
And
yes.
Damian Wayne.
Good one. All right, so we've talked positive about this. And before we head out of here, which one of these films, TV shows, do you think might actually have a chance of being a stinker?
The Wonder Woman one.
Okay. Why so?
Because of the description. Game of Thrones-ish. And because of what the Game of Thrones TV show was, I don't know how well that's going to translate on screen.
Yeah.
Because then, you have, lesbianism, you have murder, you have a lot of sex and things like that in Game of Thrones. And I don't think DC can do that. So that's the one I feel like maybe the most watered down. So that's
Okay.
why I'm the least excited about that one.
I'm excited about just the idea of them picking that kind of scenery, like Game of Thrones type of scenery. That seems cool. But overall, I would probably have to agree with you. I think that one might be the least interesting for me. Just overall, because like you said, how are they gonna do that? Like, what is that gonna look like? What are you gonna how much are you gonna have to trim off to make it work on TV, or to make work within the realm of a comic book story? Like, how much fat are you gonna have to really trim off and then make it like, I don't know. I'm just a little worried about that one. I'm a little worried. Like I said, the premise sounds interesting, but just how they're gonna be able to deliver it, that's what I'm worried about.
Waller is the one I'm most excited about.
Okay, I can see that.
Because of the actress.
Viola Davis, I feel like she's gonna kill this performance. I feel like she's going to kill it.
First and foremost, in everything I've ever seen her in. And she is that, she knows how to make that character come to life.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
she does.
You're scared shitless of her. You know, within the first 3 words that she says, hi, Amanda Waller. And you're like, oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
So like, that's the one I'm most excited about.
I would hate to work for her. I really would hate to work for her.
Yeah.
Outside of the obvious, the Brave and the Bold, because that's my number one, of course. Outside of the Batman, I think I'm the most excited about Swamp Thing, only because of that horror element. And just like that kind of dark story. Like, one thing DC does very well, and that's dark, gritty stories. They do that better than anybody. So for me, outside of the Brave and the Bold, Swamp Thing, especially being for the fact that it's a film and an origin story, I'm super excited for that film. Can't wait.
For me, the next two I'm excited about, it's very much a split decision for me.
Okay.
Booster Gold, because I think you need some levity in that universe, and I think that'll be a great levity.
True.
And Creature Commandos, because I like all these old movies. So
yeah. Bring them on.
I just want to see, like, how can you DCify them?
Yeah.
Make them, something for modern day.
I listen, man. We need to make a pact. The very first Gunn show film that dropped, I think is probably going to be Superman. We have to go see it together. We gotta go. We haven't seen a movie together in a long time.
Since you fell asleep.
This guy.
Since you fell asleep.
I fell asleep. All right, so before we get out of here, guys, Los, you want to leave anything to people? I feel like we put it all on the table here.
Just want to say, Legion, you're absolutely correct. The Titan series was terrible.
I still haven't watched it. I kept telling myself that I would, but after I watched some of the trailers, I'm like, this does not look interesting at all. It looks boring.
The problem with it, there are so many pieces of it that are interesting, but everything else around it is just crap. They did Raven so well. Mm-hmm. So well. Beast Boy, they did terrible. Robin, they did terrible. The actress that plays
Nightwing,
Star something, I forget her name.
Mm-hmm.
She's the same age as the actor who plays Dick Grayson, but she looks so much older.
Oh wow, that's horrible.
Legion chat says, speaking of being asleep, where are the bunnies?
Legion, we're not going there. Okay, we're talking about Titans right now. So if you if you had to pick one show to watch, Teen Titans or Supergirl, which would you watch? Which would you really? You would stomach that more? Okay.
Well, the thing was, it's not that Teen Titans was all bad. It had a lot of good moments. I just kind of feel like it wasn't threaded together so well. Wonder Girl in the Teen Titans series was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happens to her. Robin, when initially shows up, is amazing. Then it kind of goes down
south. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it had these great highs and tremendous lows. And there were more lows than highs. So and they weren't trying to preach to you, So yes.
Yeah.
Teen Titans. Titans, excuse me.
Okay.
But I would never watch Teen Titans Go. I saw an episode of that and I almost vomited.
He almost vomited.
It was so terrible.
Kira in chat says the bunnies are still in the store. They're going to be leaving soon. They're going to be getting delivered soon, for sure.
You know that Legion will hold you to that.
Oh yeah.
Remember, my girl's studying to be a CSI. She could cover up all the evidence. I'm just saying.
Yes, she will. She will definitely find a good way to hide the body. So yeah, man, I think today was a great conversation. Really looking forward to the future of DC. We will definitely be here to keep you guys up to date.
Wait. We're not done.
What's up?
Remember, I told you we got to talk about The Rock in the DC universe.
Oh, okay. Quick talk on that one. What's up? What's going on with The Rock?
Thank God he's out of that universe.
Oh, so he's officially out.
He's officially out.
I know he's mad.
Not be another movie with him in it.
Dang, so that whole like setup for like Black Adam was just a waste of time.
The problem was he thought, oh, I'm The Rock. I can go in there and take over the universe and do this and do that. And no one was interested in his vision of the DC universe. Nobody. Including the fans. And the box office proved it.
Honestly, I thought the movie was entertaining. I wouldn't say it was the best DC movie of all time. I'm not going to go that far. But it was a good popcorn flick.
Yes, but it wasn't interesting enough for you to go, I'd watch a part 2.
Only a Superman.
You finish watching that movie and you're like, oh, I'm glad they did that movie. We're never going to see Black Adam again. Unless he fights Shazam.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, well, James Gunn did say that DC before he came there was just a mess. Complete mess. And people in the company and I think even fans tried to get on him. No, not fans. People around people who worked in the company were trying to get on him about saying that DC was a mess before he got there. Well, it's true. It was horrible. It was a mess. Look at what happened to Henry Cavill and things that happened with The Rock and all that stuff like that. It was a mess.
As soon as Zack Snyder's family problems happened, that's when it fell apart.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Legion is telling my girl that she should use the chanclas on you.
Legion, I will ban you in chat.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
I will ban you in chat.
Legion makes a lot of valid points, and he's funny, and he gets you in a lot of trouble. Don't ban him.
Oh, man. If Legion was a character from one of these DC movies, who would he be? Just based off his personality.
Uh-oh, my girl said she just won't cook for him when he comes over.
Oh, damn. Jeez Louise. Answer the question.
But no, I'm to save you from being murdered.
Thank you.
I'm glad he's out. I think a DCU is better for it. And I think I want to see who's the next person they're going to pick for Black Adam, and I want him to be someone of Arab descent, and I want him to, I want him to have an accent. I want him to feel more in the real world, not just, some guy from the States who says he's from Egypt.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess they're gonna have to eventually find another Black Adam, because I figured that was the setup for Shazam, is to eventually fight Black Adam. So that's gonna be interesting to see how they go.
I think, which rumor is now off the table.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, they could still do plenty of other things with Shazam.
Yeah.
So.
Just think about it. You really think The Rock's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna lose in this movie?
No, definitely not. He's gonna hit the people's elbow, raise the eyebrow, and then rock bottom Shazam. Match over.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, other than that, like I said, guys, today was a great episode. We're gonna keep you guys posted with everything coming up with DC in the future. Just don't forget to hit that like button on the YouTube side of things, subscribe, hit the little bell. You can get notified whenever we go live or post any new content in regards to pop culture. And don't forget to subscribe to us on the audio podcast form. Check out our Patreon, show us some love, give Lois his coffee, because that man can't live without it.
And don't forget to remind KJ that he still owes those chocolate bunnies.
This is the part where
each and every podcast.
This is the part where I press the stop streaming button and go to bed. Thanks, guys, for checking us out. You guys are awesome. Peace and chicken grease.